What is libertarianism? The philosophical and the practical. Libertarianism begins with the idea that you own yourself, that you own your life, body, and justly acquired property. If you own yourself, then no one has the right to initiate force on your life, body, or property. You do have the right to defend yourself from the initiation of force by another on your life, body, and property. If society decides to organize itself around these principles, then many of the institutions and arrangements within society must be built around consent and voluntarism. When people exchange goods or services, they do it on a voluntary basis. When people choose to love another and form households, they do it based on consent and voluntarism. The bottom line is, if you're a libertarian, you really believe that consent matters. If you believe that consent matters, it's easy to see why libertarians can often be very skeptical and very wary of the state, aka government. Because government, through regulations, can oftentimes control and prevent voluntary exchanges between consenting parties. At many times in history, government has intervened between consenting adults in their choices to love each other and form households and engage in contracts with each other. Government will oftentimes incarcerate, fine, and otherwise harshly punish people, oftentimes for things that do not violate one's consent or does not violate their life, body, and property. And in order for the government to have the resources to intervene in our exchanges, our personal lives, and punish us for whatever it decides to punish us for, it requires to take our resources through taxation to fund it, making us worse off economically. So now let's go beyond the philosophy and ethics and see some of the just practical reasons why bigger government can be a problem. The bigger the government, the bigger the scope, the less knowledge it's going to have to really address problems. Because oftentimes there really isn't an education problem. There's several different unique problems all across the country that only the local community are best going to understand the dynamics of their local area. So one-size-fits-all policy can oftentimes cause more trouble than it provides any help. Those who do too much do little well. So oftentimes people get government involved in almost everything: education, war, energy, etc., etc., etc. The problem is, a government being involved in too many areas stretches its resources thin and also allows the governance of one issue to interfere with the governance of another issue, resulting in poorer governance. As any government gets larger, its ability to be accountable becomes less, because it becomes more powerful in protecting its own information and becomes more powerful in getting the information and taking the privacy away from you. Unlike smaller political units, which will be more directly accountable to you, more accessible, and will basically allow you to make more change at a quicker pace. Policy is never a sure thing. Policies can do bad, they can do good. So every policy is an experiment. When you do an experiment on a large national scale, if it doesn't work, you're causing everyone to suffer. By having smaller political units do policy or more of policy, you can control the damage of bad experiments and then copy the good experiments. For big changes in policy, it often takes several years and several election cycles for change to happen. So the more that government determines, the slower change can happen. By leaving most change in the voluntary sector among individuals, their communities, and their businesses, change can happen quicker, because all we have to do is get each other on the same page and make change happen today. So whether you see a value in the philosophical propositions of libertarianism or the practical ones, or both, there's a home for you here in the Libertarian Party, and we'd love to see you get involved. Start by becoming a member at lp.org/join. My name is Alex Merced, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Libertarian National Committee. I am more than glad to help you find your home here at the Libertarian Party. So feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, so we can get this change going.